The car halted in front of a hotel. It was already evening when they reached. They booked the same hotel where the event was going to be held. The whole ride, Jimin was bugging Jackson that he saw you there. Young, you were hallucinating. There was no one, he said as he came to open the door for him. Put our men to search for wine. Make sure they search every corner of Daegu. I want my wife at any cost. He ordered coldly, walking ahead, followed by Jackson. He halted and turned back to him. I wasn't hallucinating. I saw her, and you will believe it when I'll find her here. He gave him a look before walking inside. Jackson pulled out his phone, ordering their men to start the search operation in Daegu. Jimin sighed, lying on the bed, staring at the ceiling. It had been 2 weeks since he was staying in the hotel. His men were scattered all over the town searching for you, but they didn't get a single clue till now. He went to the place every day where he thought he saw you, hoping that maybe he would find you there, but the results were zero. He got off the bed and changed his clothes. Grabbing his car keys, he moved out of the hotel. He came in a park and sat down on the nearby bench. He wasn't a person to walk in parks, but he himself didn't know why he came there, like a string was pulling him. His eyes landed on a couple who were walking hand in hand, laughing and giggling about something. His mind diverted towards your thoughts. Oh, how much he wished it was you and him. He smiled unconsciously, imagining the scene. Only if he could turn back time, he would have held you tightly in his arms and never let you go. His phone vibrated in his pocket, bringing him back to reality. He reached out for his phone and saw Jackson calling him. He sighed in annoyance and picked up the call. What is it? He uttered coldly. He couldn't hear him properly as the signal was very low. He stood up and walked to the far corner, talking to Jackson, who was bombarding questions on him about his whereabouts. I'm coming back. Stop irritating me. He scratched his forehead, hearing his ranting from the other side. He rolled his eyes in frustration and looked around. His heartbeat stopped when a familiar voice fell on his ears. He gazed around in desperation, searching for the person who rules his heart and soul. His eyes stopped on a girl who was wearing a white knee-length dress, her back towards him. She was giggling while playing with a puppy. Jimin's feet automatically moved towards her. The call was Jackson was long forgotten. Everything around him seemed to fade away. It was him and the girl. Her giggles were the only sound that he was hearing. He stared at her without blinking, like she had casted a spell on him, like he was hypnotized by her. His breathing accelerated and his heart bloomed with happiness when she turned around. A smile made its way to his lips. Princess, he whispered as a tear fell from his eyes. Princess, he called loudly this time, gaining your attention. He expected an angry, disgusted look from you, but you looked at him with confusion, a look which we gave to a stranger. My princess. He put you in his arms, startling you. He silently cried on your shoulder, finally feeling at peace. His heart regained its space. His soul danced in happiness. His stiff body relaxed. His eyes shed tears of longing and contentment. While you were confused, you were feeling weird as why this man was crying, hugging you. You didn't know him. You never saw him. Who was he? Why was he calling you princess? And why was he holding you like his life depended on it? You cleared your throat and gently pushed him away. He gazed at you with different emotions in his eyes, his wide smile pointing that he had found something he had been searching for eternity. but his smile dropped with your next words. Who are you? His breath stuck in his throat. Never in his life ever he thought that these 9 letters could be so painful. He inquired through your eyes, searching for a prank or a lie, but all he could say is confusion. You don't know me? He asked, pointing at himself, his voice octaves lower. You slowly shook your head. He forced out a chuckle. Princess, tell me this is a joke. He looked at you, but your expressions were serious. You don't know me? I'm Jimin, your husband. I don't have a husband. You shook your head, saying, more like assuring yourself, I am your husband, Park Wayan. His voice turned. His face showed that he wasn't liking whatever was happening there. Wayan? I am Mia, not Wayan. What? You are my wife, Park Wayan. But that auntie said I am Mia. You voiced out, breathing heavily. You are my Wayan, okay? This is the truth. You gulped, contemplating with your mind. You were shaken from inside. You didn't know what was right and who was telling the truth. I'm living with that auntie. She's very nice. I only believe her. I am Mia, not Ryan. Jimin flipped his hair in frustration, his hands shivering in fear of losing you again. By now he had analyzed the situation that you didn't remember anything. The way you were getting restless, he knew he needed to handle the situation calmly. He took a deep breath and gazed at you with soft eyes. He gently held your hand. See, this ring you are wearing is our wedding ring. You gazed at your hand where the ring was. He then showed his hand, which had exactly the same ring but for a male. This is complementary with mine. These are couple rings which we exchanged on our wedding. You intently stared at the rings for some time. Something clicked on your mind and you yanked your hands away from his hold and stepped back, startling him. I don't believe you. You are lying. Jimin was getting restless with each passing second. After all the months of separation, when he finally found you, he wanted to squeeze you in his arms and showered you with love, but here you were denying to even recognize him. Okay, you don't believe me? Let me show you something. With his shivering hands, he hurriedly pulled out his phone. See this? He showed you some pictures of you which were taken secretly by him. One pic caught your eyes. You took the phone from him and looked at it keenly. It was a selfie taken by him in which you were sleeping on his chest. Do you believe me now? His voice desperate and his eyes pleading you to believe him. You handed the phone back to him and gazed at him. Stepping closer to him, you grazed your fingers on his face. You stared at his face, drinking in his features. Are you really my husband? He nodded as a tear again rolled down his eyes, which was instantly wiped by you. Are we married? Of course, yes. Do we love each other? He paused for a few minutes. No, you hate me. His inner soul screamed, but he shut off his other thoughts, turning back his focus on you. I do. I love you. Tears rolled down your eyes. I'm sorry. I don't remember anything. I don't even know myself. You are Park Wayan, my wife. He said, gently wiping your tears with his thumb. You sobbed and threw yourself in his arms. He hugged you back with the same passion. He hid his face in your neck, crying silently. I am sorry. You stammered in between your cries. He pulled back after some time and cupped your face between his hands. Don't cry. You sniffed and rested your forehead against him. You are also crying because I missed you so much. You know how much I have searched for you. These 8 months were like 80 years for me. I was dying every day. I'm sorry. You sobbed. He kissed your forehead and pulled your head on his chest. You clutched on his shirt and cried your heart out. He kissed your head and rubbed your back. After some time, you pulled back when you calmed down. I don't remember anything. I forgot about us. It's okay. We can make new memories, right? You smiled slightly and nodded. Let's go back to our home. No, I mean, let me say bye to Auntie. I have been living with her for the past few months. I will thank her. Let's go then. He intertwined his hands with yours. You will come with me? Yes, I also need to thank her. After all, she took care of my wife. You smiled and led the way while he followed. You, Jimin, and Jackson were on the way back to the mess. Jackson was driving the car while you were with Jimin on the back seat. He was smiling ear to ear, holding your sleeping frame closer to his chest. Jackson glanced at you both from the front mirror and sighed. What will you do when she will regain her memories? His question wiped off the smile on Jimin's face. He stayed silent for some time before responding. I don't know about future, but I finally got a chance and I won't waste it. I'll make lot of good memories with her. I'll make her the happiest that whenever she look back, it will only bring a smile on her face. That all the bad memories will suppress under the good ones. He said, determination lacing his voice. Jackson smoked slightly. Whipped. Jimin glared at him. You know that your scary eyes don't work on me. Focus ahead on the road and don't forget I'm your boss. You are my boss only when we are working. You are always my home. He smiled slightly and looked ahead at the road. Princess, wake up. You groaned when he shook you slightly. Let me sleep. You murmured sleepily and snuggled closer to him. He sighed and picked you up in bridal style. Carrying you in his arms, he took you out of the car. You slowly opened your eyes when you felt yourself in air. A red hue covered your cheeks when you found yourself in Gemma's arms. Put me down, I can walk, you said, shying away from him. I know, but I want to carry you. He grinned at you, making your cheeks go crimson red. He chuckled seeing your red cheeks, looked around and hid your face in his chest when you saw all the guards looking at you both. Let's go. He walked inside the house carrying you in his arms. The maids were lined up in the living room. They bowed their head as greeting. You smiled at them while Jimmy smiled looking at you. He took you upstairs towards the bedroom. He put you down on your feet. You looked around the room which was filled with your pictures. Why are there so many pictures of me? I was lonely when you weren't here, so I did this. You smiled at him sadly. You stepped closer to him and cupped his face between your hands. Now I am here. You won't be lonely anymore. You raised yourself a little and kissed his forehead. His heart fluttered at your little sweet gesture. He closed his eyes, feeling your soft lips on his forehead. You leaned back and gave him your prettiest smile. You good? Better. He slided his hands on your waist and hugged you tightly, which you reciprocated with a smile. Your eyes fell on the window. You backed off of the hug and walked towards the window. You opened the curtains and looked outside. You inhaled deeply and admired the greenery of the backyard. But a blurry image of a man holding a gun and shooting the other man flashed in your mind. A loud gunshot ringed in your ear. Your breath quickened and you stumbled back. Jimin was quick to hold you. Are you okay, princess? I don't feel good here. Can we go to the other room? He frowned his eyebrows in confusion but nodded nevertheless without asking anything. He picked you up in bridal style and carried you out of the room while you closed your eyes and rested your head on his chest. He gently lay you down on the bed and kneeled down on the floor beside you. Do you want to sleep? I'm not sleepy anymore. Okay, then freshen up. I'll bring our dinner. Okay, but my clothes? I'll send a maid with your clothes. You smiled and nodded. He kissed your forehead and went out. Looked at his back with a wide smile on your face. You considered yourself the luckiest to have such a lovely and caring husband. You blushed when you remembered how he carried you in his arms. His forehead kisses were so gentle and full of warmth. You hugged a pillow and turned to another side. Squealed and hid your face in the pillow, being a blushing mess. You both were cuddling on the bed. Your head was resting on his chest while he was gently massaging your scalps. Your cheeks were still red, recalling how he fed you with his own hands, and the close proximity wasn't helping either. Princess, why are your cheeks so red? Are you okay? Your cheeks turned more red when he mentioned about it. You cleared your throat, trying to shoo away the weird feeling in your stomach. Yeah, I am fine. It's just I feel hot. Hot? But the AC is on. You bit your tongue, getting caught in your lie. I want to sleep. You faked a yawn and closed your eyes. Good night. Your heart fluttered when you felt his lips on your forehead before you slipped into deep slumber. Jimin smiled, hearing your soft snores. He was at peace after finally holding you in his arms. He stared at the ceiling, his mind recalling the question that Jackson asked him. He was happy and contented, but a part of him was scared. Scared of the day when you'll get your memories back. He was scared to see the same hateful look on your face, scared that you would leave him once you would regain your memories. His whole tightened thinking about all this. I won't let you go away from me this time. With that, he also drifted into his dreamland.